developments out of Tampa tonight. You're watching live pictures from a Trump campaign event. President Trump expected to address the crowd at any moment now. We're going to monitor his remarks and bring them to you throughout this newscast.
And CBS4's Jim DeFede is going to be with us throughout the broadcast to bring a little perspective, a little analysis of the president's remarks. The president is here in Florida, and he is stumping for his choice for governor, Republican Congressman Ron DeSantis. Why did he get the president's endorsement over Adam Putnam, the agriculture commissioner?
You know, if in a lot of ways the race between Adam Putnam and Ron DeSantis is almost a mirror image of the race between Jeb Bush and Donald Trump. Adam Putnam is more the establishment candidate, long time grooming for this position, has run for office many times before, is sort of plain-spoken, business-oriented in his thinking, whereas Ron DeSantis has been a champion of the president during his time in Congress, really going hard, you know, on those hearings, attacking Mueller, attacking the FBI, you know, doing what he can to defend the president. The president likes to be defended. Ron DeSantis is a frequent visitor to Fox News, and we know that the president likes to watch Fox News.
There is a DeSantis ad that is making some national headlines. Let's take a look at that.
Everyone knows my husband Ron DeSantis is endorsed by President Trump, but he's also an amazing dad. Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build the wall.
He reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
Cute baby. Very clear what his strategy is, though. He is trying to ride on President Trump's coattails. Are they long enough?
Absolutely. If you think about it, Adam Putnam was the early frontrunner in this race. Everyone assumed he would win. Donald Trump is the factor that has radically changed that. Now, I talked to DeSantis' people earlier today and yesterday about that ad, because some people wondered if it was in poor taste, if it was really effective, and do you win a statewide race by running so far and embracing the president? They say, look, this was a good-natured ad. It got people talking. That's what we're doing. We just played it on TV. It's done exactly what they wanted. Showed a sense of humor, even though some people might think the building the wall thing was in poor taste, but it got the message out there. They still believe they have time to pivot to, in the general election, assuming they're the nominee, to talking about more Florida-centric issues.
And why hasn't it been effective for Putnam, who has been focusing on Florida, his knowledge, his background, his love of the state of Florida? Well, why is it not effectual? Because
you look at the primary voters in Florida. The primary voters in Florida are always far more conservative than the general election voters. So in every primary, you often see candidates move further to the right. Ron DeSantis was already there. He didn't have very far to move. Adam Putnam couldn't really outflank Putnam on that side, or DeSantis on that side. So, you know, with the primary election, look, on the right, that's where the energy is.
Even the negative ads are not seeming to be effective, attacking DeSantis that Putnam's been putting out.
No, and I know I mentioned it earlier. We have a statement from Putnam that he just put out, you know, and attacking Ron DeSantis. I'll just read part of it. You know, Putnam said that Ron DeSantis has released zero plans on any Florida issue surrounding announcing his campaign as governor. I look forward to working with President Trump to implement my Florida Jobs First agenda. You will not see Adam Putnam say a bad word in 2018 about the president. He's trying to keep it focused on Florida-related issues. Ron DeSantis is keeping the big picture in mind.
Again, a live look now at Tampa, where we're expecting to see President Trump and hear from him any moment at this campaign rally, where he will talk up the candidacy of Congressman Ron DeSantis for the Republican nomination for the governor's race. That primary, by the way, is on August the 28th. How important is an endorsement from President Trump? Is it automatic? If you get the president's endorsement, does it automatically mean that you get the nomination?
It's not automatic, but you also have to take it in hand with something else that happened. In 2016, you know, Adam Putnam was not a Trump supporter. He was supporting Jeb Bush. He actually made some derogatory comments towards the president, talking, you know, when President Trump came out and talked with the Access Hollywood tape, with other things. Putnam was critical. Look, the Trump people right now, the Trump supporters in this state, are all in for Donald Trump. They have long memories as well. Donald Trump has a long memory. That's probably part of the reason why he also endorsed Ron DeSantis. So they remembered Adam Putnam not being as loyal as they would have liked to the president, so they're paying him back now.
And there is President Trump, of course, making his way to the stage, greeting his supporters. We've seen him hold these campaign-style rallies really since almost just after he won the election. Most presidents usually wait a little while before they kick off their re-election campaign. Not this president. He loves to surround himself with his supporters, and he is going to have a lot of them around him tonight, including Matt Gaetz, the congressman, who is right there in the left center of your screen.
He came down on Air Force One with the president.
He flew down. And, you mentioned these Republican politicians who appear on Fox News Channel, a lot of them sort of echoing a lot of the same words and charges that we see from President Trump in his tweets about the Russia investigation being a hoax,
a witch
hunt, and all of these things. And you have to figure that the president is paying attention to these lawmakers who are backing him, and that they're most likely to get his support.
Well, and you also have to imagine. Let's also realize the big picture of the backdrop that this rally is taking place in. The Paul Manafort trial underway today. They selected a jury, gave opening statements, and heard from the first witness. So that trial is fast moving along. You've seen Donald Trump in his tweets over the last few weeks ramp up his attacks on Mueller, and the entire investigation, but Mueller personally. So this could be one of those rallies where Trump really unleashes on not only the press, on the witch hunt, on the investigation, and just lets loose. It could be a really good one.
All right, Jim, thank you. And again, we're going to keep monitoring President Trump's remarks at this campaign rally in Tampa. He has just arrived. We will break in if necessary. We're also streaming the event live on our Facebook page at facebook.com/CBS Miami.